This is the New York City Police Department. You have been warned as per City College to leave the campus. If you refuse to leave, you may be placed under arrest.
Yeah, you heard that right. So as Columbia's Hamilton Hall was getting cleared, students at City College attempted to take over a school building there. Now, the NYPD were called in and preventing that from happening and also making several arrests. So the decision to reach out to the NYPD was in response to the actions of the protesters and not the cause they are championing. It is a very important point to make. Now, the reason that everything changed was the NYPD believed that the protesters inside Hamilton Hall were not only just student protesters, that there were forces from the outside that were actually heightening what was going on here at Columbia University. Now, the university and police believe the group that broke into and occupied the building was led by individuals who are not students or affiliated with the school at all. Police sources tell us about 50 arrests inside the building, most not Columbia students. They are, quote, mostly professionals. They are, quote, mostly professionals. They are, quote, mostly professionals.
We watched as those who voluntarily were willing to be taken into custody were zip-tied and escorted to a waiting area and then taken downtown for booking. Temperature right now on campus, what do you hear?
I don't think it's ever been higher. The tensions are extremely high. People were fearing that this was going to happen, to put it quite frankly.
An encampment dismantled. Law enforcement in riot gear bring an end to a week-long protest at UCLA. Using flashbangs and zip ties, protesters detained one by one. After a 9-hour-long standoff, more than 200 arrested.
Free Palestine! If I'm free, then what does that mean if my brothers and sisters in Palestine aren't free?
They're just free Palestine. That's why we're all here. And this is an attack on democratic rights. This is outrageous.
And following the early morning raid, daylight revealed the damage left behind.
A drastic difference on the UCLA campus from yesterday to today. Here's the latest on the encampment raid early this morning. Just before 3 a.m., hundreds of law enforcement breached and dismantled the pro-Palestine encampment at UCLA. An hour later, the area was cleared. More than 200 people were arrested. They're likely looking at only misdemeanor cases, according to the LA DA, George Gascon. They're likely looking at only misdemeanor cases, according to the LA DA. They're likely looking at only misdemeanor cases, according to the LA DA.
They are, quote, mostly professionals. They are, quote, mostly professionals.
What up, y'all? Jake here. And I wanted to give you my breakdown of these protests going on college campuses across America. I'm going to try and make this as basic and easy to understand as possible. So here is my opinion and breakdown. These protests are staged events. The majority of the participants in these protests are paid participants. Even the mainstream news admitted that the majority of these participants are, quote, professionals. And I do believe that is correct, that the majority of individuals we see on screen, on television, are paid participants. And mixed in the crowd, I believe there are some real people, and I refer to these real people as useful idiots. Now, I think there is only a small percentage of real people involved here, a very small percentage of useful idiots, but there are some real college kids that are getting duped into thinking that they should be a part of this protest. So let's insert some logic into this situation, shall we? These protests are only happening on college campuses. Certain lefty, liberal college campuses. And you don't hear about 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, and 50-year-olds who aren't college students or not on a college campus getting together, in a Walmart parking lot or at Starbucks to protest this. No, it's only happening on college campuses. Think about that. College campuses are affiliated with the state, with the government. A lot of these campuses may claim to be private, but they are connected and intertwined with the government. The curriculum taught on these college campuses is government approved. These are institutions, government-run institutions. What a perfect place to stage some protests. It's a perfect area for staging an event. And if you're going to stage an event like this, you're going to need some, quote, professionals. And like I said, the mainstream media admitted it's mostly professionals. And then when you take into account that real college kids don't give a crap about some war overseas that they've only seen on TV and have never experienced. And the reason I know that is I was once a college kid. I was once on a college campus. I have a 4-year university degree. And I can tell you this, college kids, in my experience, don't give a crap about wars going on overseas, and they certainly aren't going to risk getting arrested or in trouble or thrown out of school by protesting anything, especially some war overseas. Real college students are busy trying to get laid, getting drunk, or going to the game. That's what real college kids are doing. Or studying for their tests. They don't have time to get involved with these activities. So, like I said, there's a very small amount of actual college students who are participating in these staged events. And last, but certainly not least, I want to point out that when you hear about these individuals getting arrested, or you see them get arrested on television, the report will be 200 college protesters got arrested at the UCLA campus. Now, what you don't hear is whether or not charges were pressed against all of these individuals, or any of these individuals. You just hear that they get arrested. And you might see someone on television in handcuffs, or their hands are zip-tied, and they're supposedly being hauled off to jail. But you don't see them doing any jail time. You don't actually know if charges are pressed. So it is my theory that the majority of these paid participants, when they are arrested on television, they're not actually arrested as far as charges being pressed. So imagine you get hauled away in cuffs on TV, and then you don't actually go to the police station, they just let you go. So I don't think that any charges are being pressed against these paid participants. And any charges that are being pressed, I think, are reserved for the useful idiots and real people who get involved and do something stupid.
Okay, so they did it. So they, first of all, discriminating against someone based on their anything is already illegal. But now they're making it illegal to criticize Israel. That's what this is.
Finally.
That's what this is.
Finally, this reign of terror on this campus.
House approves anti-Semitism bill amid pro-Palestinian camp. So what they're doing is making protesting against the genocide in Israel illegal. That's what they're doing. Me just saying this is probably illegal.